Hello, I'm Mike. I'm an ex Hells Angel member. I was a member and started the Fresno charter, and I transferred to Santa Barbara to start them up, and then I transferred back to Fresno, and that's where I left in 2011. I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Mike Lynch. What's up, man?
How you doing, Bill?
How you been?
Still alive. Still trying to get used to this old age stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot different world from when you were coming up, huh?
Yeah, that's, I made the move out of California up to North Idaho just so I could, get everything back in perspective again. Because when you're active, you're very active. And if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you should be worn out. And you know what I mean? When you have responsibilities, and, all of us had leadership positions and positions within the West Coast, officers and all that stuff, you're constantly talking and thinking and trying to figure the game out.
So, what was your early life like? Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Fresno, California. Um, I went in the service when I was 17, and I got out when I was 21. But what I ended up doing is I bought a motorcycle about 6 months before I left the service, and I shipped it home. And as soon as I got home, it was on. And Fresno is very well known for its motorcycle community, so I just jumped in both feet.
And what was it like? Were you around clubs when you first got back and you
A
were riding
lot
your
of
bike?
clubs were around, but I didn't really, because I just got out of the service and I really wasn't used to, hanging out with people that weren't in the service. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I got out, it was all new to me.
There was
And
no other service members riding?
there was a few, but for the most part, Fresno is a gangster town. You know what I mean? Everybody is everybody,
Yeah.
and a lot of bumping heads, a lot of this, a lot of that, but that was just part of the game that you play.
So, what was your first introduction into motorcycle club world?
Um, there was a few clubs in Fresno, and I spoke to a few of them, but I'm really interested in the motorcycle drag racing. The top fuel bikes, and I started attending them everywhere I could: California, Nevada, Oregon. So, I really, the first contact I had with the club was Chicago Joe out of Richmond, and he was a real popular rider. Plus, there was guys out of Canada, guys out of Frisco. And I kind of liked it, so I started just hanging out and talking to people, and got a familiarity of what was going on.
And these were the Angels.
Yeah, yeah, they were prominent in the drag racing world. I mean, we had 3 or 4 guys from Canada. We had Chicago Joe. We had quite a few kids out of Sonoma County. There was a pretty good crew and a pretty good representation for the club.
And back then, what year was this?
Uh, this would be late 80s.
And was it a different time, like where different clubs can hang out with each other and there wasn't that much tension going on, or was there tension at this time?
It just seems like it was inevitable. You might be quiet for a minute or two, but sure as shit, it didn't take much to get it ruffled up and the shit started. So you after a while and you get to know everybody, you kind of know what's up and you stay apprised of who's who and who's not and who's having problems, and you pick and choose where you want to be.
Was there any Mongols in that area?
Um, they weren't too far away. They were about 45 minutes away in Visalia. And, you know, throughout history with Fresno and them, there was always tension. You know, it didn't matter if it was club guys, civilians, or whatever. It just seems like the guys in Fresno were lone wolves. They liked their town. They didn't want no interference, and they didn't get none.
So you start hanging out with these guys. Are you like going to the clubhouse and go to the parties and things
Well,
like
I
that?
wait. You know what? One of the guys in town, one of the older guys, wanted to start something, and we had talked to a few Hells Angels, and they said, "Hey, you know, you start your little club. You guys, you interact as a club, and the eyes are upon you, so they'll see if you're what they deem necessary to run the particular area you're in."
So did you guys start a club?
We started a club. It was called Scream City MC. Um, the name came in the 60s. A lot of the guys, we had a charter here in the 60s. And then because of legal issues and people going to the pen and all that stuff, it pretty much dissolved. And the members that were left went to other charters in California.
So how many people were in the club when it first started, and was it an outlaw club?
In our club, yeah, it was an outlaw club, and we knew that if we wanted to get into the Hell's Angel world, that we were going to have to act as our own club, and then people would see how you interact with the people, how you get along in your town. Uh, we attended all the events that we could, you know, as guests, you know. So you go see and you go here and you go there, and you end up learning if you even want to go any further than that point. You know, a lot of guys see something they may or may not like or may not do, and they end up backing out and going their other way, you know. But with the guys that stayed with me, we definitely had it in mind that that's what our end goal was.
So you, in your mind, you're like, I want to eventually become a Hell's Angel.
Yes, you know, it's just once you get around, you get a taste and you see things, and you start actually getting your feet wet a little bit, so to say. You know, it just the bug gets you and it's over with.
So when is the time that either you ask them or they ask you, is this what you want to do? And what was the process to becoming a Hell's Angel? No, being that you already were in a club.
Well, um, the California Nomads ended up being our sponsor, and they were going to show us the road. And then eventually, after so much time with them, you know, I got called in to one of their meetings, and I was asked, you know, what are you thinking? And I said, I'm thinking that we want to be Hell's Angels. You know, that was our intention when we started, and we had a pretty good little crew going. So uh, I just told them, I said, yeah, and then that's when we were under the wing of the California Nomads. Well, at that same meeting, one of the guys goes, "Hey, we got a proposition for you." And I said, "Okay, shoot." And they said, "You want your own charter in Fresno?" And I looked at him and I says, "Well, you know, yeah, I mean, being in my own town and because in geographics on Highway 99, we had probably five charters on the 99. And Fresno was a gap between Bakersfield and Stockton. So the idea was to fill that gap and start making our presence known.
Now, when you decide this is what I'm going to do, well, the Nomad chapter, they don't have a clubhouse, right? They roam around from clubhouse to clubhouse.
Well, I mean, by the definition of the word, yeah, but they were in Stockton. A few of the guys were outside of Stockton, but a lot of the nomads had businesses there. You know, motorcycle shop, tow businesses. A lot of guys were tied. Now, could they travel and did they travel? Well, sure. You know.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, they asked me if that's what I wanted to do, and I says, you know, and he goes, can you speak for all your guys? And I says, well, yeah, you know, I mean, that would be the ultimate, is to be in your own hometown. So they all started laughing at me, and I got kind of pissed, and I said, hey, well, you know, what's so fucking funny? And they just looked at me, you'll see. And that was it. Get the fuck out of the room. And you're
because you could have became a member a lot faster.
Well, I mean, on paper, if I would have stayed with the Nomads, I would have prospected as a Nomad, made member as a Nomad. And then after X amount of time in the charter, then you could have, after I found out later, that you could have started another charter in Fresno. But since I was a knothead, I took the hard way. So altogether, it was 5 years, 11 months, and 11 days.
That's a long
before
time.
I was a Hell's Angel.
But you were already hanging out before this time.
Yeah, but
right?
that 5 years, once you've committed to that way of life, then there's no patty caking around it. When you say you start, you start. And the California Nomads educated us, and you know the thing is to go everywhere that you're allowed to go, that where there's a function, a party, or if there's somewhere that our charter could help you guys out while you're doing this toy run or an anniversary party or whatever, then you be there. And that's the only way you're going to get to know what Hell's Angels are, and you get to know the individuals that are part of that club. You know, because like it or not, them are the guys. Them are your teachers. Them are your educators. Most of them. You know,
you get to wear your patch during this time? Your club?
no, the deal that we had to go is the patch got absorbed by the Hell's Angels, so there was no more Scream City. We became Hell's Angel Hang Around Charter, and then eventually we went to Fresno Prospect Charter.
So you had no patches at first.
At first, we had our, they had a little, they called it a license plate. You know, there was a hang around deal, and you had to hang around. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was part of, okay, like I said, once you agree, then there's the start. Once you hang that on, now, the hang around period, you know, is for you to check out the lifestyle, to check out the motorcycling, to check out what you see, you know, and if you have second thoughts, then would be the time to say so, you know, go in and just say, hey, look, I don't think this is for me, and I'm backing out. Okay. But once you go from hang around to prospect, the decision has been made. You know what I mean? All guesses or thoughts or whatever is off. It's time to get started and hit the road, and that's what you do. You know, because that's what prospect is. You're a prospective member of the Hell's Angel Motorcycle Club, and you will act accordingly.
How many prospects did you guys have in your charter?
We started off with maybe 9 or 10, but soon as it started on the road to doing that, you'll see guys, they're dropping like flies. They can't keep up with the no sleeping, the constant on your motorcycle, town to town, state to state, whatever it took to let the Hells Angel Motorcycle Club as a whole know that we were serious, and we'll do what it takes. And so, you get the natural attrition rate, so by the time we were made members, we were down to 7 guys, 7 solid guys.
So did 7 all patch
Passed
over
out.
like at the
Yes.
same time?
Yes.
Now, what was that day like when they call you? Walk me through that day.
We had I'm sure you know about our monthly meetings, and so we all go up to Oakland, and what we do at our meetings, our job is to let the membership know what we've been doing, what we've been learning, what charters we visited, any, let's say, legal problems that we bump into. They want to know it. If they're doing this, if they're doing that, they want to know how they're coming at us. So yeah, we had all the above. So each and every month, we gave a report to the West Coast and told them what we did and what we've been doing and what was coming up in the future. But so we go in there that day, and everybody's there, and I'm sitting there, and the chairman of the West Coast committee, he says, "Okay, guys, what's up?" And we go through, okay, we did this, we did that, we went here, we had issues with this, and we're doing that. And so, they're well informed and well versed as to how we're operating down there.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, you know, we don't see you guys nowhere. We don't see you. We think you're fucking lazy. I don't know if you're just wasting our fucking time." And man, because I got the PTSD and all that shit, I started to get a little boiled in there for a second. But I know the guy that, the member that was telling me that, I kept looking. I go, "Is he fucking serious?" And then I retorted with, like I did my best to bite my tongue. I think there was blood coming out. I just says, "Well, if you haven't seen us, y'all need to get some goddamn glasses."
Did you say that?
I didn't have no choice. I didn't know what else to say. I was like, "Oh no," and then they all started laughing, and they said, "Turn around," and all of our patches were on the bar in Oakland.
Oh,
So,
man.
I mean, you can equate it to like the birth of your first kid. You're so fucking excited you don't know what to do. Well, I was standing in the room with 50 Hells Angels, and I'm like blah, 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 blah. And then the Nomad president Festus was alive then. He came up and took his patch off and gave it to me. He goes, "Now you're gonna start doing what we do," because now I'm privy to some of the things, and as the president of my charter, you've got to suck in everything so that you can go back and your guys become knowledgeable. And you know what I mean? You don't want anybody not being in the loop, because if they get asked a question, I would tell my guys, you better have a good answer. We're not standing around here playing cards and smoking and joking. You need to be listening, and you need to be taking heed from some of them old folks that got 30 years in. You know what I mean? Because if they're not a fountain of knowledge, I don't know who is.
So do you guys have a big party that night?
Actually, we're in Oakland, and everything was kind of because of the meeting, and I guess there were some things discussed before the meeting, in the weeks. So it ended up we didn't do a party then, but we did one later on. We all just rode home with, me. I had a smile so fucking big I was eating fucking cockroaches or whatever was on the road. I didn't give a shit.